What's up? I think we are rolling. We're at speed, and I just so happen to be with a good buddy of mine. It just so happens to be in the living room. This nice little apartment here in Wilmington. You may know him from Voyage into the Deep. Like to play progressive house. I believe he's relatively new at it, but by judging his performances lately here in the Mid-Atlantic area, primarily in Philly, you wouldn't think that at all. A genuine dude. Been a couple places, and I just happened to catch up with him to see how he's doing, man. Jesus Antonio Cordoba Nava, correct?
That is correct.
Gotcha. Now, where did you grow up, man?
So everything starts in Mexico,
Gotcha.
actually in a city called Querétaro. That's where I was born. We're a small family. We're four. I have a sister that's younger than me,
Gotcha.
and great parents.
How did you stumble all the way to the States?
It's been quite a journey, I'll say, and I'll definitely gotta say that I've enjoyed the ride. Um, so everything starts at 17 when I finish high school,
Gotcha.
and then I move out from home, and I moved to Cancun, and I spent 8 years there, which I was able to pursue my college degree and then have a job. Um, then, long story short, I moved to Mexico City. It happens to be there 3 years. And then after that, I had the opportunity in a win-win situation, in which I was able to move to the U.S., specifically the state of Delaware. And it's been a very good ride.
Good to hear, man. It's been a pleasure being on that ride with you, just as well. And I'm sure many others would say the same thing, being that you DJ as well as almost everybody here has been on this podcast. Being in that spotlight with you, seeing how you play and hearing how you play makes it worthwhile for everybody there, just as well. And it makes for a good night. How did you learn the skill of DJing, and how did it come up to you? I'm sure that wasn't your first hobby.
So let me give you a little bit of background there.
Go.
So before actually electronic music, I have always had this inner drive about trying to look for something new.
Sure.
And just before DJing, my previous hobbies were flag football. I was a big fan of American football.
Gotcha.
I was some of the weird guys in Mexico, not
Not
watching.
playing soccer, not playing football, like football.
Exactly. So then after the football, I had another interesting hobbies back in the days when I'm talking about maybe 2009, 2010. This stuff about cloud computing and technologies wasn't really as big as it is today. And back in those days, I used to be very deeply involved in any kind of event in regards to technology.
Gotcha.
and how actually can change others people's life. So those two were back in the days my inner drives. I used to like a lot traveling, but obviously as a student I wasn't able to afford it.
Gotcha.
But when I used to, I used to try to take the most out of it.
Gotcha. I understand. I imagine during that time you kind of, did you listen to music on the road, and did you get inspiration just as well to be where you are now with music?
Absolutely. So music has always been a big part of me. And when I was a kid, my biggest, the guy to achieve the one I was looking for was Mr. Michael Jackson.
Gotcha.
So I used to be a big pop listener. And back in the days, I had the opportunity that my mom always would look for something to do. We will never be just sit around and doing nothing. So I had the opportunity to study for about a couple of years music, and I used to play an instrument. And back in the days, I used to play violin. So to be honest with you, it was more of a duty than something that I was personally
Gotcha.
looking for. Uh, but then down the road, um, all the dots connect them by themselves.
So when I entered here today, I think you were working on the closet downstairs or something like that. I don't know. Looks like a pretty big closet, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I cannot sit around and watch TV. So, I mean, um, so this weekend, I ordered a closet and it's a big one,
Ooh,
and
okay.
so I'm assembling everything together. Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna take me almost a day.
Oh wow. Okay. Because I did recently the same with my room a couple weeks back during Memorial Day weekend, and had a red room, and also as well like it was more like an Asian kind of theme, and I liked Asian culture or like Japanese culture, but like I had that theme for like 10 years, so it's like
I
it
see.
was even though I was really the only person to notice. It was like I had time to change it up. I had the time to do it. So I was like, I got me, my mom, and her mom's boyfriend, and we painted the room in all white. And I was thinking to myself, well, we'll just make the room in different colors, just using my like different LED lights and stuff like that. It's cool. I got my little computer which lights up in crazy different colors, and I have my little LED lights. So it's like at night it's party time, during the day it's relaxation time, I guess. Um, and I didn't realize that it became so apparent that like with that change came a bunch of different changes. And
Yeah.
during this whole COVID thing, it's like, what the fuck can I do? It seemed like during the beginning of this whole pandemic, it's like people were striving to do something, and now it's like more chill, relaxed. It's like, oh, let me just live within still instead of let me work my time around it at this point. And lately I've been doing a lot of yoga and stuff like that, and I've always been wanting to try it for sure, and especially during this time right now, I'm like getting more and more into it, just as much as music and everything else, thankfully.
Did you just become that because COVID?
Well, no, it was before that because I noticed during mountain biking, which is also a pretty. That was my passion before this, and it still is now. Just as you are, I would imagine, maybe with football, with running. Um, that I've noticed I'm not that flexible. I really want to work on that. Like I can't touch my toes, and I really want to get to that point where I can touch my toes and beyond that. So I feel that's like a personal goal of mine, and also just mentally.
I think that this COVID situation put a lot of people into that position.
Agreed.
To rethink what are we doing, where do we stand, what is it really, what it moves us forward. You know,
Yeah.
um, uh, personally, I think that is that one was one of the hardest moments this year for me, in which just the lockdown
Agreed.
and going 150 miles per hour and suddenly you just got to a stop, and you just have to learn to be around yourself, be with yourself. Not a day, not a week. We've been in lockdown since March, and today is August.
Yeah.
So
It's still
it's
ongoing right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and who knows? I don't know when the vaccine is gonna come in, but definitely I think that's gonna be the only really thing that will get us, between quotes,
Yeah.
back to normal life.
Go back to normal life.
Yeah.
I've been seeing some stuff pop around in Philly though. There's like some inklings of normalcy leaking through. Outdoor dining, that's becoming a thing. Some small parties, some bigger parties, um, stuff like that. Socializing, basically socializing in general, um, has become more back to where it was, and everybody's trying to adjust with that, yet still be safe at this point. A lot of live streaming.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of live streaming. You've been part of that. How was Voyage into Deep? How was that, man?
It was pretty exciting. Obviously after the lockdown, but I think it was really special because how everything happened. And again, music doing their thing. Music allow us to connect between each other, regardless of values and beliefs. And I was able to meet Alex and his girlfriend, Laura, and then they extend that invite to me. And we initially had the chat, and then actually the fact that did occur was huge.
Mm.
And then doing the live streaming, and then being able to share with my own friends in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
or
Oh wow,
others
super cool.
that I've been lucky to know around different countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely, it's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's like it gives them a reminder of what you're doing now, and to let them know that you're making use of your time, but you're also being productive, and yet still having fun during this kind of bland, placid, yet ongoing time. I guess I could say. Um, I like that. I like that you're doing that. Now I've tried the whole live stream thing. It's like, it's cool, but like I could do audio, good. I could do video. I say okay, but I can't do both together. But
What
thankfully,
what do you mean?
like I can't have audio and video together like perfectly. Like I can't do both like at the same time, because like with
But it's something in
with my setup, it's like I use my laptop and I'm using my camera and I'm also DJing, so it becomes like a big production, almost like you're making a movie, at least for me. And that's like kind of hard to process, and especially when you've only done it like once or twice in comparison to just going out to, let's say, I don't know, the Barbary or whatever kind of club, and you just play on their decks.
I can definitely tell you that there is a completely difference between having a performance
Huge.
live streaming and having a performance in front of
Right.
a crowd.
For sure, you feed off the energy off that crowd, and it
Yeah.
makes you know that what you're doing is correct, for lack of a better word, and that you're doing your job as a DJ and entertaining the crowd, and yet enthralling yourself into it with whatever vibe you feel, just as well, and just rolling with that theme and kind of chopping it up and fading it out and adjusting that pitch fader, and however you kind of want to create that experience, that story to that crowd. It really illuminates the room, and you can just see that moving. With live streaming, it's just like you're kind of reading a chat box. You're kind of reading a chat box and kind of listening to yourself to make sure that you're on point. And most likely, if you're on point, then everybody else is moving, I guess, their office chairs inside the rooms.
Yeah.
Or dancing in the room, whatever. Yeah, that's fun.
What I have found also from others is that they between friends lately,
Mm-hmm.
they have been meeting between small groups,
Right.
4 or 6 people,
Sure.
and then enjoy that live streaming. I think that's at least
Very intimate. It's very more
Yeah.
close. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. How would you describe yourself as a DJ? Have you found a style, like as a DJ? Like, how would you describe your kind of style, if anything?
yeah. I like two main ones. First one is progressive house. The other one I will say I do like a lot melodic techno.
Gotcha.
Those two, I'll say that will be what it's my own beat, and that's what I try to communicate when I am playing.
Gotcha. And I think, speaking of progressive house and melodic techno, I think the first time I ever saw you was at Afterlife.
Yes.
Yeah. Good time.
Good time.
Good time for sure. I remember. Did you stay for Tale of Us?
Yeah. That's the main reason actually I went to New York.
I had a group of 5, 6 people. I forget, but we had to make it back. We had to make it back to the van at 5:30 in the morning to go to another party. It was the peer party. So it was like, okay, it happened pretty quick in the grand scheme of things, because I was on some things, and there's the thing about like a big kind of event and or festival is like there's acts playing at the same time, so it's like you have to really kind of plan out your time. Oh man, Fiaka's playing, but Ben Clark is in the other room. I want to see them both, but they're in different rooms, so how can I do that shit?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to plan it out in that sense accordingly. Speaking of Fiak, I haven't told this story yet. I've been meaning to get down to it, but I'm actually going to say it this time. I met Fiak at Afterlife.
Wow.
Super duper cool. Actually, before they were performing, I took some X, and I wanted to really kind of trip out to their performance, and I did just that. but then I was getting really cold and really shivery, like you know, and so I had to chill out. So what I did is I went to the chill out room and just
Okay.
kind of lay there, you know, try to relax and focus on my thoughts and everything else for like a good fucking 30 minutes. And lo and behold, out of the corner of my right eye, I see two like bright green like highlighter shirts, like something out of construction site, something like high visibility shirts, and I'm like, that's gotta be fucking Fiat, because nobody else would wear that shit. It's gotta be. So I'm like running. I'm like running. I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Fiat. And I'm like, yo, thank you so much for all that you've done. What do you think of this venue? I love your work. Keep doing this shit. And it ended up being like, kind of sort of like backstage, like not quite on, like behind them, not behind like the DJ decks, but like alongside where like you could tell it was like the VIP quote unquote area where it's like everybody's like upscale, you know, like clubby, like I paid X amount of money for this. Yes, I'm bringing bottles of champagne. You're not having any. Good luck. Have fun.
Exactly.
And
which by the 3 a.m. those
like,
lines are lost.
Yeah, and they're just as big as the bathroom line. And I had a great time there, and I didn't stay for Tail of Us, but who else did I see? I saw Fiak, of course, Ben Clock, Courtesy, Mathemate was great when I first got in there.
Honestly, I think that night they stole the show.
I agree. They were like, when I first got in there, they were first playing, and they kind of set the vibe. It wasn't too loud or harsh or upbeat. It was just like that right kind of like speed, that tempo. I'm guessing it was like, I don't know, 126 BPM, give or take. But it was like mellow kind of stuff where you can talk to somebody. It wasn't too jam-packed when you first got there. And you just kind of like, from there you explored the venue and everything else. And it was cool. It was cool. It was definitely an experience, especially being like up there on the second floor, like where you can kind of see the city. And I wish I was back there again. I'm guessing the same thing for you.
Likewise, I can tell you that I do miss all those events, especially the energy that, you know, it's a Friday night or Friday afternoon.
Yeah, sure.
And you're taking, whether it's riding with a friend or taking the bus all the way up to New York, arriving to, you know, Manhattan.
Yeah, whatever.
And it's 9 p.m. You get a pizza, and then you head to Brooklyn, and then you get into the party, you rave, and it's 6 a.m. You start to see the sun, you get something to eat, and you just take the bus back. It's just those pretty cool experiences. So when I moved to Mexico City, I find what I will say one of my best friends, and he actually introduced me into electronic music. This is in 2017. I'm invited to one of these electronic music festivals called The Social. And actually, I had to confess, I wasn't really too much excited about it. It was actually a 2-day event, and I actually only went one. And turns out that I arrived late. So my best buddy almost kills me. But right after I arrived, and I start realizing the energy, the environment, and actually everything about music and what it does to people, and completely a new world and experience to me. That's how everything began. And the ride to me actually began with Mr. Carl Cox, which at the time when I was there, I had no idea who he was and where I was. But then that's where everything lighted up. The Brooklyn Mirage on the fall, you know, in the terrace. And
I haven't done the whole terrace thing yet. Yeah.
That's like the perfect. It's not so hot, it's not cold, and the venue, the DJs, and everything is pretty awesome. And then the other that New York does offer as well is those boat parties.
Oh, the Circle Line. Did you go to any of those?
I went to a couple.
No shit. Tell me about those. Tell me about those. Like Macioplex is the one that stands in everybody's mind. Like, oh man, did you go to the Macioplex one? Or at least in my mind, because that's the one that kind of like, I guess, kicked off the whole Circle Line thing.
George is born.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
was able to watch him perform in one of those boat parties,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the sunset, and then when it finished, it's really already the night.
Yeah.
But they take you under the Brooklyn Bridge, and you get to see the entire island of Manhattan. So you see all the sky racing buildings,
Sure.
lights,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful, you had the chance to go to Ultra Miami or Ultra Mexico?
I did both.
Was there any was there any real difference between Miami and Mexico, or did they
Yes.
have its? Okay, tell me
Yes.
about that.
So number one is actually the entire setup. Miami is millions of dollars away from Mexico as far as the lights and the stages
Gotcha.
and sound
Production.
and production, really. Number two is the enrichment of cultures. In Miami, you can find literally maybe one person from a different country all around the world. So you find Brazilian, Spain, China,
Gotcha.
Indians, whatever. And Mexico, you find, I'll say maybe 10, 15 countries, but
Sure.
not that diversity that you
Okay.
find. Then Miami, the way that it's produced and the people, the specific DJs, especially the big names, they tend to release new,
Right.
completely new songs, or some of them actually new albums entirely. And that's what they do to prepare just before the big one,
Yep.
which is either EDC, Vegas, or Tomorrowland.
Mm.
But yeah, it's absolutely completely different.
I've thought about maybe going there, but it's like, I don't know. There's so many good stuff kind of locally. There's EDC, that's in New York. There's, there's a collection of events that are happening locally around here. What else is not too far away? That's pretty big. There's some stuff going on in Maryland, like Pimlico Raceway. I forget the name of that festival. But in general, it just seems like a little much just to go there. And also, well, there's Detroit. I've still yet to go there. I wanted to go there this year, but unfortunately got pushed back to 2021. I was literally thinking about going there just to look around and kind of know my surroundings. A couple maybe 2-3 weeks ago, but then they pushed it back. Got the announcement, they pushed it back to 2021. So I was like, damn it! It's what can I do with my time there? I can't even go to restaurants and stuff like that. So it's what's it really worth? It would be just me just saying that I did it, but in reality, it wouldn't be worth my time, I think.
Yeah. No, it's been a horrible feeling that friends and I had the plans to actually spend this year our entire vacations in the Awakenings Festival.
Okay. Is that
And
in Belgium, right? Or was it,
no, in Amsterdam.
Oh, right.
And well, everything got pushed, and we were very
Gotcha. Right.
frustrated about it.
Gotcha. Did you already put down the money for everything?
I'll say just the tickets of the event,
Okay.
and some, obviously, the transportation. Lucky, we didn't actually put the lodging,
Mm.
but the other two we did. Fortunate to us, most of the airlines and the actual event allow us to push those to the next year. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Amsterdam's a cool city. It's super cool. I mean, weed's legal. The red light district's there. It's a European city. Everybody rides on little bicycles. It's cute. I rode on one myself. Got lost, and then finally made my way back to the hotel. But that's kind of a long story. I could say it, but I just don't want to say it. It's kind of a long story. It's kind of boring, but it's worth it. The Heineken factory's there, as well as the Van Gogh Museum. That's
Wow.
super duper cool. Met a buddy over there. I'm not sure he's still producing music, but I got introduced to kind of a minimal techno over there, so that was super cool. But it's a really cool place. I definitely recommend it. When I was there, Martin Solveig just released Intoxicated. You gotta be intoxicated. That was the shit. Everybody was playing that. And I went to this one club inside that kind of club district, and there's this saxophonist, and he played on the saxophone, Intoxicated. It was the shit. It was super duper cool. That was like one great memory that I remember of that place.
We'll
But
we'll make sure to actually check out with you before we take that flight.
oh, sure, sure. London, you've been to London just as well. Tower
Yes.
Bridge. I stayed in that area. Very much enjoyed myself. I didn't really, I felt the people were too stiff. Like I felt they were kind of like, yeah, I felt the same way. They were like, they weren't really all that welcoming. Once you got into the clubs, at least for me, you got to hang out with the younger crowd and stuff like that, and that was cool. But like it felt too like businessy. You know, people in suits and stuff like that. You know, they have more money than you. I mean,
The
it's okay.
the Sherlock Holmes style.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, Tower Bridge is not like London Bridge. Tower Bridge is the one everybody takes photographs of. London Bridge,
I know. It's a big confusion. I gotta say that I had that obviously confused as well, until after I actually went into the city
gotcha.
and I realized the difference of names and the actual bridges. Beautiful city.
Great city,
Yeah.
no doubt. I went to. Did you go out during that time? Did you meet any people?
Yes,
Yeah.
so actually that was so I ended up in London because a couple of weeks before I had to do a technical project in actually Galway in Ireland,
Okay.
and then I decided to take a week, and throughout that week I was lucky to actually go to a different bunch of places. One of them being London,
Mm.
others Barcelona, which I never had been before back then. Then obviously I went to Ibiza, a couple of really cool DJs, and then I went back to Madrid, one of my favorite cities. Great wine, great food, great people. It happens that I actually end up meeting what I will say it's a really cool friend, Jorge, and
Shout out.
and again, music doing their thing, and nice, really nice city. And then I actually flew back. Then I spent a couple of days in New York, and then back home.
How long was that trip? Give or take.
Actually, it was crazy trip. It was a 4 weeks trip, and
Nice.
it actually first began in Mexico.
Sure.
Then from Mexico went to Dublin, then did 3-4 countries in Europe, and then came back.
That's fucking rad. Like, and usually when I'm at a spot, it's usually for a week, but I just hunker down and stay there because, like, figuring out travel, like, to get to other spots. Like, when I was in Germany, I kind of wanted to make my way back to Amsterdam, but, like, the train ride to get there was, like, 2 hours, and, like, I didn't want to get lost. That was my thing. Like, I didn't want to be in, I don't know.
You have
Sweden.
to.
Yeah, you had. Well, it's great to get lost in that sense, but there's a language barrier. And when like everything, when the train schedules are in Dutch, you can't read Dutch, and you only speak English, and you only have Google Translate. There's only so much you can do without somebody else being there. I feel, without trying to be completely helpless. So it's like you make do with what your time, you make do with the time that you have. You plan shit out, at least for me, to occupy my time for where I'm at, and just have fun.
Yeah.
That's all I'm do.
Yeah, I think traveling is a very enriched experience, and allows you to really know yourself as well. You know, exactly for the things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
When you get lost, what do you do? When you're outside of your comfort zone, or you know, you're not in the same neighborhood where you can whistle, and 3, 4, 5 dudes will arrive and
Right.
rescue you. Right there, it's by your own. So. Those are pretty cool experiences that end up being good for life, and then you just
Mhm.
have a good smile, and you're glad to actually tell them as a history.
For sure.
Yeah,
And being lost, you find yourself.
I agree.
Just yeah, 100%. Your time on Ibiza, I've never been to Ibiza. I heard a lot of people from London go there, like during
It's a wild
spring break
place.
for sure. Is it just as wild as Miami, or is it like a different kind of like level, or is it just different? I don't know. Never been there.
It's a different level, and I will say a couple of things. The first one, if you really want to take the most out of it, my recommendation is go with a bunch of friends. Definitely, it's not a place where you're gonna go to museums and nothing like that.
Really?
Not at all. No, it's an island where all is about music, pool parties, nightclubs, and shows. Actually, the island is closed when it's the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really merely a season island where you can actually have a really good time. It's wild because all the ecosystem that those kind of parties
Mhm.
and stuff like that offers. But it is a really cool place to have fun with your friends.
I figured. I imagine it's very hot.
It is. Well, it obviously depends the time of the year. So my friends and I, we went in 2017. We were five of them,
Mm.
and we did a single Airbnb. We never sleep.
Team no sleep.
Team no sleep. Actually, we made shirts that say that.
Team no sleep.
Yeah. And the third day when we had to take the flight back,
That was when you slept.
that's when we
you
just slept in
hard.
the car and then actually in the airplane. It was really fun.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Now, was Space there? Space Ibiza?
Yes.
Was that there during the time?
So
like,
there are a bunch of different clubs. The main ones are the one you mentioned. The other one is called High.
yeah, High Ibiza. Yep.
Yeah, and they have a nightclub called like that, and then inside of the hotel they make the pool party called also High, which is really really big. It's where really big
Big
DJs
names, yeah.
actually perform. Then obviously is Pacha, another big one.
About Pacha. I thought Pacha is not just Amsterdam. They tour around. They go around. Oh, okay.
I'll say it's kind of like a brand more than just a
Okay.
nightclub, and yeah, it's also a very cool place, and different others. Definitely good food. The majority of the island is really Italian food, so you could really actually get good pasta and wine, and
Gotcha.
It's cool.
I need to work on my cooking. I feel that since I'm living under the parents right now, it's like I don't really have quite that freedom to kind of like be creatively expressive through food. Yes, I do know how to whip out some stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like I'm not completely free just because I'm still kind of enclosed in that sense with them.
Is that something that it's
something I want
your
to
interest?
Yeah, it's something I wanted to do. Like just last week I went to Barnes and Noble and just like flipping through like Gordon Ramsay's like cookbook and like just trying to get like ideas for recipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And being that I'm of Latin heritage myself, even though I don't speak Spanish, whatever, I don't care. Call me a gringo, I don't give a fuck. But it's like I want to get some inspiration through like something different. Like maybe possibly through, I don't know, fish or maybe some pasta. I've been making a lot of pasta lately. And I want to work on that. But I also want to kind of like spend more time with it. And granted, I do have some time on my hands, but when I come back from work, I'm like exhausted. So I want to whip out something quick and easy, and I want to figure that out.
Start with the small stuff, stuff that you can grab from whatever you have from your day to day. And in today's day, you go into YouTube and you can find everything about anything. So you just literally can't put right there what you have, and something will come up.
Gotcha. What do you like to make?
So I actually do enjoy cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'm a big fan of spicy food.
Gotcha.
I'm big into that. I think it has to do with the fact that since my grandfather, he used to be like very big on that. So I do enjoy a lot seafood.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be then obviously meat and any kind of. I'm not allergic to any kind of food, so I go wild when it's food, whatever it is.
When I travel, I feel with like going overseas, especially, food gets kind of like put on the side in comparison to like shit I want to see. Like I want to go see, I don't know, the Holocaust Memorial, or I want to go see the Spy Museum, or I want to go see this brewery. Food takes kind of a back seat, and if it just happens to be nearby, let's grab it. Like I don't feel like, I want to say maybe I do feel like spending the time to make a reservation, etc. But it just wasn't as attractive as seeing the Berlin Wall. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely, definitely. I think, especially with food, there's a lot of people that do enjoy a good food, which doesn't mean that has to be expensive,
Right.
right? But it's just something that you truly enjoy, or that has the taste that you really like,
Mhm.
that you're looking for. I think there is no bigger pleasure of having a really good meal.
Agreed. And it teaches you about the culture just as much as music.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed that with most like guidebooks, you read about landmarks, food, hotels, and stuff like that. Music isn't really there. It's maybe it's thrown to it's thrown to the background. It's kind of like if you're lucky enough to hear what the music scene is about with the people who are local, that's just as special as you being there in the first place. For sure.
So talking about food,
Go.
I gotta say that I've been lucky enough of meeting different places and people, and have different type of food in different countries. And on this one, I gotta stand up for my country.
Sure.
I gotta say that there's absolutely nothing like Mexican food. Um, Tacos al pastor. That's
Okay.
those
sure.
ones that hear that speak Spanish, that know what I'm talking about. That is the high standard. And food, especially Mexican, I think, in my own personal opinion, it's the best one out there.
For me, it's like pinchos and like pastelillos, like anything kind of fried or like grilled. Yeah, sure, I'll take some of that.
Well,
for sure.
definitely, we do enjoy and love everything that get us fat.
I need to gain more weight. I weigh like 125 pounds and yeah, 5'10".
Oh, come and live with me in 1 week.
Okay,
You're definitely
that's
gonna
fine.
gain some
That's
weight.
fine. But it looks like you're trying to lose some weight at the same time because you are into running.
Yes.
You said with actual like soccer and or flag football, maybe you've gained or lost some pounds. How was your journey with running? Have you been doing it for a long time, give or take?
It's been very inconsistent.
Mhm.
I've never had really some sort of plan or anything in a professional manner. Actually, this month is going to be the third month that
Mhm.
I've been running
Mhm.
at least 4 times a week.
Gotcha.
I do enjoy it, but I've never actually really done it because I want to lose weight.
Gotcha.
I've never done it because I want to run a marathon. Honestly, the jogging, running, it just really helps me to clear my mind, especially Fridays, when you just have your work week. You're trying to head into the weekend, trying
Sure.
to plan really how you're going to enjoy it, or the decisions that you make. Because some of those decisions obviously do impact others, friends, family, co-workers. So it does really help to clear my mind. And then there's a beautiful park actually here about maybe 3 blocks away. It's called Brandy Wine,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. It's an absolutely gorgeous place.
I agree. I mountain bike there from time to time. Are you still playing football? Flag football by chance?
No,
Or
no, I still playing when I moved in here into the U.S. And obviously one of the reasons at the very beginning was going through the entire setup process. You know, finding everything, getting all their paperwork, trying to
gotcha.
adapt to the culture and people and new.
I had to take a back seat.
Yes, so I had to stop a few stuff, but now I'm all settled down, and I've been able to meet great people like you.
Yep.
and
Thanks, man.
and a bunch of friends here in Philly.
Now, I saw on your Facebook, as I normally do when kind of like doing some background on whoever my guests are. Do you have that Miata? Is that I saw on your profile? Is that yours?
So
Or your Mazda
the
of some
short answer
sort?
is I don't have it.
Okay.
I sold it, and I sold it.
Oh no shit,
Yes. I used to have that beautiful red convertible.
dude! I swear to God, there's like last time I parked here, Like there was literally a red Miata.
It's around the corner.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, no shit. So it's like, tell me how that came about.
So actually, that car came for with a friend. Actually,
Sure.
great friend. And long story short, when I moved into the U.S., part of the agreement was, "What are you going to bring from Mexico?" And I just said, "A backpack and my convertible." That's all I need.
That's all that could fit.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, we shipped the car in, and I had the opportunity to have it for maybe 9 months.
Okay.
Very nice during the summer and fall. You just put the top down,
Yep.
and then you just drive, and the nice breeze, air, music, pretty cool. And then maybe by November past year, my family was going to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this question about, well, should I feed my mom or should I feed the backpack? Because it only has 2 seats,
Yep.
And so I said, eventually I'm gonna need a bigger car.
Sure.
So with all my broken heart, I went to trade it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Could have got the rental. Maybe get like a little Jetta from like Enterprise.
I
or
know.
something.
Yes.
No, that's fine. But do you have the Mazda 3 now?
Mazda 6.
Mazda 6.
I have the
Okay. How are you
Mazda
enjoying
6. It's a very big car.
that?
It has a lot of space now. I can definitely put a couple of bodies there.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's pretty big, but no, a great car.
Okay.
I was really happy with the brand, and that's why actually I was not really thinking about trading it, but when I took my Miata
Mhm.
into
Yep.
the car service, due to the miles versus the year
Sure.
and everything,
Sure.
they actually they made me an offer to buy the car, given the status, the mile, the mileage,
Oh, wow.
and everything.
Mhm.
And it was a win-win situation, and I said, you know what, let's do it.
Gotcha. I have a Jetta now, and I definitely like it. I didn't expect to have kind of the issues that it had with it, but I took care of those issues, and I like the way they're solid cars. They're solid cars. I would imagine maybe just as solid, if not more than the Mazda 6 that you have now. But I've enjoyed it because I went to the Volkswagen factory during my time in Berlin.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to the factory, which is actually in Wolfsburg, I should say. It was about an hour drive from Berlin. An hour train ride from Berlin, and had a set time to be there for the English translation. But there was some construction going on or something like that. So I had to stop in a town previous to Wolfsburg, and I missed my time to go there, as far as for the English translation is concerned. About like an hour later, I get back on a train, and I'm actually out on the factory floor, and it's like, oh man, we only have time slot for the German, for the German translation. I'm like, fuck it, I'm here now, and it was so cool. You go inside this Volkswagen like convertible bus, and like all the windows roll down. It's like a stretch like bus, and like a bendy bus, kind of sort of, but it's like style like after a Volkswagen bus. And you go through the factory and everything else. They made Jettas, Tiguan's, GTIs. I think Atlas, maybe like the first gen Atlas. I forget. Super cool experience, and that kind of experience wanted me to eventually get down the line at Volkswagen. And when I traded in the G20 that I had, I was like, and I had the money for the new car. I was like, let me get a Volkswagen. I was like, cool. I'm stuck with that. It's been my car ever since. I'm driving it now. It's a big wagon. Again, lots of space. It's like sometimes more space than I know what to deal with. But when it comes to like small gigs, like I could throw my everything in the back. My controller, my little PA system, generator, etc., and just have a ball with that. And I've very much enjoyed it. And it's like with wagons, it's kind of like two-door convertibles. It's kind of niche, and you don't really see them all that often in comparison to big SUVs.
Yes.
But that's kind of niche of it. That's kind of like what makes it so special. Who are you listening to now?
So lately, I found a new DJ called Kaisen.
Kaisen.
Kaisen. He's from Netherlands, and he's around those progressive vibes.
Sure.
And I uncovered him maybe 3 days ago, and I've been following lately what he has been doing. As a matter of fact, he has been actually broadcasting, producing music lessons
Oh,
through
good.
Twitch. And he's actually working in a new song that is gonna come up with one of my favorite DJs called Yotto. Um, so I've been listening to him.
Okay, gotcha. I've been listening to a lot of the streams off Art Concert through like the United We Stream
Huh.
channel on YouTube, and like it, I've been before that I've been listening to a lot of the Circle videos and listen to Boiler Room stuff as well as some SoundCloud stuff. And with Art Concert, I think they're either based in France or based in Germany. But like when you read the description, everything's in German or in French. So I know they're kind of like, I guess, eccentric or different in that way, being that for from overseas, and you hear artists that you also see from Boiler Room and like Circle, but it's like they're local to where they're at as far as broadcasting. So it's primarily like stuff in like venues in France or venues in Germany. And I was listening to the Lady Machine, that new Fiac, which was awesome, because they went to the Tefloff Airport, which is like this airport that was built in World War II. It has like 300 plus rooms, and you can tour the place with a tour guide. The place has so much history, but it's like literally when I was there, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I wish somebody dude sat there and somebody did, and that was fucking Fiac, as well as Blauwein and others. That new Afterlife compilation, I've been playing that on repeat, listening to them and getting familiar with that, because with like most stuff I buy, it's like I really have to listen to it again and again and again for me to get a feel for it. So that's how I've been doing a lot of that lately. And yeah, that's really about it as far as.
So what's your
concerned.
favorite, or I will just say favorite? What kind of style of music or DJ defines your sound?
Well, I have various different genres of music. I have everything from deep house to like soulful house to tech house to melodic type stuff to I think I have like some like to even I have some rap. I don't want to say I'm all over the place, but I'm generally known for or I have kind of like a niche for techno. It's aggressive, it's focused. You have a sense for tunnel vision, and it's like it feels kind of focused and like very like rhythmic in that kind of demeaning fashion, I guess, in that kind of
Got
like.
it.
But I've liked that, and ever since I went to Trésor, it was been like that. Like kind of shook me. It was super duper cool, and I was like, man, why is this shit not played in the States? It's like the same reason I guess drum and bass isn't really played in the States, because it's not as mainstream as pop is on the radio. Do you have other tracks other than progressive house?
Yes, absolutely. So I do enjoy also tech house.
Okay.
And especially the tech house caught me with a couple DJs. One called Chus Ceballos.
Okay. Yeah. I was more a Roger Sanchez kind of guy, but it was still Chus Ceballos. I still have to listen to him actually. Yeah.
And the reason being is before I kind of stepping into the electronic music, I was big time dancer of salsa in Mexico. Those
like formally trained kind of shit.
no.
Okay.
No,
just doing it just because. We had a little siesta here, like maybe a week or two ago, and we busted out the salsa and we did it on the floor. It was cool. It was cool. I still remember that shit. I got a video of that shit. That shit was fire. Muy fuego.
And before that, actually, I still am. There are days in which I don't want to hear electronic music, and I just play that.
Sure.
And so I love to dance, and I'm big into that. And then the other stuff that I do like within the actual electronic music, as well as house.
Okay.
I do like as well deep house, techno. I definitely one of those, and then trance. I do enjoy trance.
The funny thing is, like for most of the artists I'm listening to now who generally play techno. It's like the newer stuff and or the stuff that kind of is in the end of their set. It's mostly it feels like kind of trancey kind of vibe, almost like Cask. Like they have like these melodies and these vocals sometimes that appear, which are soft
Yeah.
because like everything else is too hard. Like I think I discussed this with Alex. With Alex Miles, shout out to you again. But I think we're getting to the point where techno's coming too fast and like too brittle. So we have to like instead of like hardening and just going faster and faster, almost to GABA, that kind of 200 BPM sound, we have to kind of like relax, breathe,
Yeah.
and breathe out. And we have to kind of like use that time to kind of figure out where we are and know that, you know, we're still alive in that sense.
So
I like
actually,
that.
one of those trance that I do enjoy, there's a DJ called Spencer Brown.
Okay.
He's not going hard into
Sure.
the trance. I'm not talking about 140 or 130,
Mhm.
but he's a bridge, I'll say, between
Okay.
those progressive house vibes and trance. He's in that middle ground. It's a very cool musician.
Speaking of middle ground, a lot of sometimes when I hear progressive house, you often hear piano, and I just so happen to see to my right you have a little, well, not a little keyboard, but a big keyboard. It looks like a 62 key
Yeah.
Korg SG. Explain how you got that in here and what are you doing with it now?
So actually, one of those killer timers with this COVID-19 thing, I decided I wanted to learn something new. So I was looking into my schedule and what I was doing every day today, and I said I got to do something new. So it turns out that I went back to music, actually like reading music, and I've never played piano. I had the notion, I had I'll say the bass and the grounds, and now what I'm trying to do actually is play and read music. I've been trying that for the last 3 weeks. It's brand new, but I'm currently already playing a couple songs, especially into the classical music. And one of the reasons being is because I want to be able to understand the keyboard and play some chords and kind of remind myself when I was 10 or 12. And then, after then, because it's a hobby, I'm not doing this for any type of business, then getting to actually producing music.
Gotcha.
So I want to understand first that. I want to understand music before I try to go into the computer and set a loop
Right.
with a couple of claps and kicks.
And I'll tell you what, just if you learn and or figure out and or master that, that's going to make you into a better DJ just as well. Because admittedly, I can't tell the difference between a C major and a D flat minor. I can't tell the difference just by listening to them. I have to physically read the key and or translate whatever key notation is in my
Yeah.
laptop to the color wheel. I can't figure that out as far as just listening to it is concerned. But being that you have a keyboard, I would like to think you would figure that out more.
It's funny that you say that because the day before yesterday, I was driving my car and a song was playing through the phone, and it's a song that I have listened before, but it was a shuffle selection.
Sure.
And the song came on and it starts with a chord, and when the song starts, it plays 3 straight scores one behind the other, and on board entirely, I was able to understand and listen that he was playing C, D,
No shit.
and G, and it was pretty cool. It was one of those things that you just realize that there is some progress. There are days in which you just don't feel like it,
Yeah.
and it's just
100%.
like exercise. You just go to the gym and you boost yourself, and you come back the next day. You look into the mirror, nothing happens. 2 days, you do the same. Look into the mirror, nothing happens. Then you go for a month, and you just you just say, why am I doing this? I'm not seeing a change.
Yeah.
But then 3 months later, you look at the picture, and then you realize that there has been some change.
Yeah.
And that sometimes reminds you or gives you a glance about making progress. And those are really the one motivation things that you have to look for, because motivation to me lasts a few weeks or months, but then the other part is about consistency. So that's really hard.
What you just said is kind of a pretty big metaphor for whatever I feel what everybody's going through right now, especially during this time, including me included. And just kind of, I was listening to Nita Kravitz podcast on RA Exchange, which is kind of the inspiration for what we're doing right now. And I think, like, she said something along the lines of like inspiration is a very fast thing. It's very euphoric as well as inspirational, and it's kind of like your job to either pursue that sound through decks or through software like Ableton or FL, whatever you use, and to kind of create your own sound based off that. Haven't learned that yet, but my question to you is, do you often, I find this with artists, it's like you often have a sound in your head sometimes that comes out of nowhere, and you really want to produce that sound, but it's kind of the struggle and the beauty of trying to figure that out and make your own. Does that happen to you sometimes?
Absolutely.
You get some crazy sound. It's like, I never heard that.
Absolutely. To address your couple of questions, the first one is about how we manage those situations where you just said, I feel frustrated when I just can't translate that into my own work.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there. It felt really horrible, but I think the difference between the ones that do versus the other ones is consistency. Then you might hear a sound that you might want to produce, and it turns out that you produce something else that is not the same, but then you just said, you know what, I'm just gonna let it like that because that's my own sound.
Exactly.
And then that's where everything comes along. And then honestly, like I said, what I'm seeing is not really the song or producing something. What I'm seeing right now is the immediate next step, rather than achieving for the producing of the music.
Yep.
So right now, all where my mind is in about going back to the basics, learn, relearn how to read music, and then play comfortable, where I can just, not memorize but actually read and play,
Mm.
and then go from there and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's part of the journey just as well. And I would imagine when you've mastered the basics, then everything else comes to a new light, to where everything becomes, I don't want to say effortless, but it's less time that you have to produce a track, and it's more straightforward.
Yes.
I have a quick questionnaire for you.
Yeah.
This questionnaire was first brought to you by Leonard People in El Couture, and this same questionnaire has been used inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton. And the reason I use this questionnaire is because I feel there's a lot of parallels between DJs, comedians, actors, anything in kind of entertainment. It's like we all are creative people in that sense, and we all kind of draw inspiration from others, and we each kind of like learn our craft and refine it, sometimes day by day or however much time you like to spend on it, and keep on going with that and see where it takes us. Almost like anything else. What is your favorite word?
For fuck's sake.
Well, I guess that was goes along the lines of my next question down the line. What is your least favorite word?
I can't.
What turns you on?
Music.
What turns you off?
Disappointment.
What sound or noise do you love?
Melodies.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I don't think I have one. Well, you know that sound that you produce when you're putting a fork against a plate.
Oh, that screeching,
Yeah,
high-pitched sound, like
exactly.
nails on chalkboard.
Yes.
Gotcha. What is your favorite curse word?
Damn.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Racing horses.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I could see you like having like a little
farm.
a little farm,
Yeah.
maybe like growing horses and like maybe like a race horse, something like crazy cool like that.
I would love to
Yeah.
do that, man.
Kentucky Derby one day. I don't know.
You know, if it wasn't for what I've been doing, as a not DJ but as a my day-to-day
Yeah.
job, if it wasn't because of that or money, if nothing like that was wrong, that will be all that I did.
So I'm guessing you would like to pursue that as a profession if you wanted to do that. If you weren't like DJing or in your current job or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I like to have a farm and horses and just
Gotcha. Be out
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
What profession would you not like to be in?
Those ones that are related to heights. I'm kind of like, you know, those guys that are cleaning.
Oh, skyscrapers?
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
No, I will not enjoy that.
Okay. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say as you walk through the pearly gates?
You did good.
And you do good as well, Jesus. Any shout-outs, promos, anything you want to say? Shout-out, whatever?
No.
Wrap this thing up?
I'll just want to thank you for the opportunity. Being a foreign guy, coming into the U.S. and the way that great people like Brian, Shannon, Alex, you know, great people that have been near to me, had been really, really important into every day today and weekend. I have the opportunity to have great friends in Mexico, in Cancun, in Veracruz, and other places, and I just feel very lucky to actually meet all of you guys. Then being able to express ourselves through music. We hope that throughout the next months and years we can share a lot of festivals and good times, because I think that life is made of small moments like that. So thanks very much for this opportunity.
Welcome, man. Yeah, the small moments make big impacts on through our lives. And it's just our little collection of that we have with the time here. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everybody. This is episode 17 in the books, thankfully. I don't know when the fuck number 18 is going to come around, but I'm taking my fucking time with it. This whole COVID bullshit is like in our way. But whatever. I guess I'll see you around, folks. Cheers.